Wow. Thank you, Royce. My journey with prostate cancer began with a blood test last December 4th of 2023. It ended 5 months later, on May 8th to be exact, with something called high-dose radiation brachytherapy, expertly overseen by the City of Home team and Dr. Percy Lee. He and his team literally saved my life. Ladies and gentlemen, how many events have we attended over the years benefiting, very important causes? We listened, we cared, we donated. But when attending a benefit for a cause like cancer, many of us think it could never be me. It's always going to be the other person. Well, I certainly felt that way too until last December when I learned that my PSA blood test showed a significant jump and it was outside the normal range. My internist said, "You need to see a urologist and you need to go right away." The next few weeks were a flurry of doctor visits, an MRI, and a biopsy. Several days after the biopsy, the phone rang. It was the doctor who performed the biopsy. He very solemnly said the three words that no one ever wants to hear. He said I had cancer. And it was a very aggressive form. I want to pause here and talk more about those three words. You have cancer. They change everything. Your priorities, your plans, your outlook, your gratitude for the small moments in life. All normal, everyday things that you never really thought about, all of a sudden become the most important things. For me, those included morning coffee with my wife, Nancy, FaceTiming with our 7-year-old grandson, Rex, and Zooms with our adult children, Paige and Sloan. My daughter, Sloan, who's sitting at our table, flew in from Atlanta to be here for this evening. And Sloan, I really appreciate you coming out. Nancy and Sloan, I hope you both know how much I love you and our family. And Nancy, really, from the bottom of my heart, you were there as a rock throughout this entire journey. I love you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for everything you've done for me. So let's get back to what happened next. It's time to find the right care for my cancer. So my next call was to Royce Imhoff, who you just heard from, my dear friend, long-term business colleague. And he immediately reminded me that a number of years back, Nancy and I attended a gala that Royce emceed, benefiting City of Hope and honoring Don Trotman Banke of Pacific Life and Pacific Life's long-standing support of City of Hope. Don and the other Pacific Life executive team, would you please stand and be acknowledged by the group here for everything you've done over the years? Well, Royce reminded me that Nancy and I and my partner, Mickey Siegel, and his wife Lee, also here tonight, had made a multi-year financial commitment at that gala honoring Don, and that commitment was directed to the building fund for the City of Hope Orange County campus. Amazing, amazing. Royce called Dr. Edward Kim, who you, of course, heard from earlier. He's the physician-in-chief at City of Hope here in Orange County, and he's vice physician-in-chief of City of Hope National Medical Center. Believe it or not, at 8 p.m. that same day, Dr. Kim called me at home and introduced himself. He told me everything that City of Hope could offer me, and it was in my own backyard. Well, 2 days later, Nancy and I walked through those doors at City of Hope, Orange County Lennar Foundation Center, Cancer Center here in Irvine. We met with Dr. Percy Lee, Medical Director, Radiation Oncology, and Dr. Jeff Yoshida, Medical Director, Urologic Surgery. They had already reviewed the MRI and biopsy results, and developed the preliminary protocol for treating my cancer. Important to note that one of the cancer lesions in my prostate had just barely broken through the prostate, making it even more life-threatening. So at this point in time, he said, the prostate treatment protocol would be 1, a 3-drug regimen that I must stay on for 2 years designed to eliminate all testosterone in my body, as testosterone is the fuel for prostate cancer growth, especially in its infancy. Second was 28 external beam radiation treatments Monday through Friday for about 5 weeks. And Dr. Lee also recommended 2 additional tests before he could finalize my treatment protocol. One was the Decipher test. They send your biopsy material to a special lab that looks at, listen to this, that looks at the activity of 22 genes in the prostate cancer cells. I mean, can you believe that? It gauges how likely one specific cancer is to spread beyond the prostate. It takes about a month to get the results. It grades the likelihood of prostate cancer spread 0 to 1. Well, being a winner, I was a little disappointed in that mine tied the record at 0.97. Now, on the one hand, I thought that was like a really good score. It was not good news. It was about as bad as it gets, maximizing the probability of spread. So he was also concerned that the cancer could have metastasized, since one of the lesions had penetrated or escaped the wall of the prostate. And he said that I needed to get a radioactive CT scan. Since I was going to be out of town for a while, I had that test performed at another facility. I waited several days for the report to come back. Imagine what you would be thinking, the anxiety, saying to yourself, waiting for these results. Well, the computer dinged. There was a multi-page report. I finally reached the executive summary, which said, no evidence of spread of the disease. I called Nancy. We cried the happiest tears ever imaginable. The cancer was indeed contained only to my prostate. It had not metastasized. That scan was sent to Dr. Percy Lee. I met with him several days later. I'm in his office. He's looking at the scan on his monitor. He's turning this dial back and forth, over and over. And he asked me to come over and take a look at the computer monitor. This test, if it finds any prostate cancer antigen anywhere in your body, it will light it up like the sun. The prostate was lit, trust me, was lit up like the sun looking at the scan. But he pointed to several very faint yellow dots. Joel, he said, you're a very lucky man that I found these, because the radiologist at the other hospital who read and reported on the scan missed it. He said those very faint few dots were cancer cells. He believed that the lesion protruding through the prostate had dumped them into several of the adjacent lymph nodes. At that second, the world stopped turning. I was completely frozen. Hearing lymph node involvement could not be good news. However, he then said the following words that I couldn't believe that I heard: easily treatable. He said, as part of your radiation treatment, we just add some pinpointed radiation to those several lymph nodes, which will kill those cancer cells. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about the technology. Here now was my final treatment protocol. The 3-drug protocol for 2 years, the 28 radiation treatments. This machine rotates around you for about 5 minutes. There was certain radiation pinpointed at my prostate. There was different radiation beams pointed strictly at those little lymph nodes. and yet a different spectrum of radiation treats my entire pelvic area as additional insurance. As if that wasn't enough, Dr. Lee said, "Joel, we'd like to add one more thing: high-dose radiation brachytherapy." High-dose radiation brachytherapy is where, under general anesthesia, they stick 16 catheters, MRI-guided, into your prostate. And each of those catheters, believe it or not, treats a certain channel in your prostate. It was offered to me to maximize the probability that my disease would never return. It was quite a 1-2 punch. The external beam radiation and now high-dose radiation inserted into my prostate. None of this would have been available years ago if it wasn't for the money that we give to City of Hope and these kinds of things. Had it not been for Dr. Lee and City of Hope, if I didn't walk into those very doors of this incredible institution of offering hope and cancer expertise, those several lymph nodes with the cancer cells would never have received the special radiation pinpointed to those cells that I needed, and I would have been dead within 5 years. That's City of Hope. That is expertise. Dr. Lee, would you please stand up and be acknowledged for everything that you've done for me and you do for so many. As a result of the comprehensive treatment protocol, custom designed to my unique needs, which is done for every patient, I'm proud to say, along with several million patients who have been treated at City of Hope, that I am indeed cancer-free. And they are incredibly confident that my cancer will not return. Ladies and gentlemen, City of Hope literally saved my life. The entire City of Hope team is compassionate beyond description. To best describe how they connect with you as a human being in need, allow me to share with you what happened after the last of the 5 weeks of radiation treatments. Would you please cue the video? So I come walking out of that room, all these of the radiation, all of these people, the people that took care of me, the people that touched me every day. I mean, they're just one after another, unbelievable. Keep watching, please. All right, here we go. I mean, just one after the other, all of these people touching me through the radiation treatments.
Oh, guys. Randy's the last one. I want a hug too. No? Yeah. You guys are the greatest.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take a moment to celebrate my very special guests here this evening that I invited from the radiation department who worked with me during every one of those 28 treatments. I wanted them to be part of this special evening. Please, will you all stand up and be recognized by our group here? Thank you. I love you guys. Absolutely unbelievable human beings. So, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, statistics tell us that about half of us, believe it or not, will be diagnosed with cancer in our lifetimes. In fact, this year, more than 2 million Americans will hear the words, "You have cancer." Treatment and cure are only possible because of people like you and you and you and me who give. Our funds fuel cancer research, state-of-the-art technology, and enhance City of Hope's ability to recruit world-renowned physicians and staff solely focused on cancer. While a cancer diagnosis changes everything, so can City of Hope. City of Hope changed everything for me. To have it in our own backyard is a gift from the heavens. So please support City of Hope Orange County. And I want to thank everyone for the privilege to share my story. I want to thank you for your generosity. But I want you to keep in mind, you are helping your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones, people like me, and God forbid, possibly, maybe you as well. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. City of Hope, thank you. To my beloved wife, Nancy. I'll never be able to thank you enough. Thank you, everybody.